Among other concerns, this so-called Equal Rights Amendment displaces and erases women. As drafted, this language includes the words sex, gender identity, and gender expression. This undermines women's equality because any distinction based on sex will now get the highest level of judicial scrutiny, making it impossible for many common sense distinctions in the law that benefit women to survive. A person's subjective sense of self, however it is expressed, will be their arbiter, putting programs and opportunities that give women special treatment in legal jeopardy. Women will be the victims of grueling litigation, fighting for their existence as laws that were enacted to protect them will now be used against them. Even the U.S. Supreme Court has held that gender-based classifications that favor one sex can be justified in some circumstances. At this point, the Minnesota Court of Appeals has already twisted equal protection on its head while abandoning all regard for privacy, safety, and dignity of young girls and students in Minnesota. Girls will continue to lose their voice and access to female-only spaces should this ERA pass. A few years ago, I represented a group of high school students in Minnesota. These girls wore gym clothes under their plain clothing all day because the school passed a policy that allowed males into their locker rooms and allowed them to play on women's sports. Claiming this is a rare occurrence doesn't stand. Infringing on one women's rights members is one too many. The committee record contains an executive summary of a litany of harms to women that the so-called Equal Rights Amendment will only perpetuate. After the mere introduction of this legislation last year, a nonprofit organization that serves victims of sexual abuse in Minnesota informed me that they withdrew from a state grant program at the risk of closing their doors because the state created a policy that would force them to house men who identify as women. As legal scholars have stated, the Equal Rights Amendment asks women to abandon privileges they already have in exchange for rights they will never get. Members, this is not equality.